I know I say this all the time, but Melbourne just knows how to turn it on because this weather was incredible. A nice day for the main training session before Saturday's game. There's probably going to be a captain's run on Friday morning. But the most things I wanted to check out today was how did Darcy Moore go? How is Lachie Schultz going? How is Mason Cox? What is going to happen? What's the team going to look like? And we got all of our answers. So again, a pretty light-ish session. There were umpires here. There was a bit of a scratch match or whatever you sort of want to call it, full match simulation right at the end of training. But the boys were looking good. You can see there right on your center of your screen, Tom Mitchell. We said he was back in full training on Tuesday. He's back there with the fellas. And what did I say fellas for? I never usually say fellas. We're back there with the team. At the end of the training with Craig McRae's presser, he said that Tom Mitchell is 2 to 3 weeks away or 3 or 4 weeks away from playing in the VFL, and he's ready to go, ripped, ready to go, and looking like all of his legs injuries and foot injuries aren't hindering his performance at the moment. A couple of things that I did notice from training is that, we talked about Ilaru Smith playing in the backline in the VFL. He was training with the backs today. In the match simulation, he was with the backs, so it could be his next calling. Maybe they're saying, okay, maybe he can't make it as a full-time ruckman. Maybe he just sort of taps out. You can kind of see him here doing his thing. Maybe he kind of sort of taps out, and we can train him into a centre-half back, thinking someone who can sort of line up next to Darcy Moore, or we just have that backman. What does that sort of look like? That position is really hard to sort of learn, especially if you've like Smith has been training with the Rucks since he's been at the club, and that's what he was doing in juniors as well. So that's going to be interesting to see his development throughout the year. The VFL is on Saturday at Victoria Park, so get down there. Maybe we'll see Smitty in the back line as well. For the main team, Moore, Schultz, Mason Cox, all trained super well. We know Coxie is fine because he's been playing, but it was mainly Schultz and Darcy Moore. You can see Darcy Moore there. That vertigo, thing of the past. We said this on Tuesday. You could see Sullivan there just in the white jersey. Now, yes, white jerseys, black jerseys, we know what this sort of means. They were evening out the numbers. You see, Lipinski and stuff in the white jersey, Perham and Jeremy Howe. But it's looking like Lockie Sullivan comes out, Will Hoskin-Elliott comes out, and of course Dan McStay comes out for Schultz, Moore, and Mason Cox. It's going to be hard. Selection is going to be so hard, but the best thing about it is, besides McStay, which is a forced selection, it's about depth and it's about fighting for spots, and we didn't have this luxury last season, and we finally have it now. Could there be a chance that we swing a surprise selection? Look, probably, but I reckon that's more for the Fremantle game, where we sort of rest a couple of older bodies going into the 5-day break. I think the team is pretty much sorted at the moment. But what I love to see from training was a couple of the VFL guys were there. Pretty sure Riley Mason was there. Josh Brown was there. So it was nice to see that. Will Hayes kicks a beautiful goal from about 50 metres out. And everyone sort of gets around him. So the kids are coming through. Joel Cochran is the only one in the rehab group that was on the ground. So he's dealing with a little bit of a concussion. They're being really cautious with him. Poor kid just can't take a break at the moment with all these injuries and stuff. But he will come good. Natural successor to like Jeremy Howe and stuff. So I'm really keen on what he can bring to the table. But everyone is looking fantastic. The VFL is going to be the most telling one. So make sure you get to the VFL game at Vic Park on Saturday. I'll be there recording and stuff like that. Come say hi, so it'll be fun. But training was great today, and everyone was giving 110%. Ned Long was just a different beast today. You just saw Lachie Schultz do a tackle. So everyone is ripped and ready to go for this game against Geelong. But that is it for this short training video. Enjoy, like, comment, subscribe. Watch my Barry Carp Collingwood President chat. Merch is still out there. But until then, like, comment, subscribe. Tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets. And until next time, double shackers. I'll swoop you later.